telescope is an extension of its owner that allows us to peer into the universe to see nature on the grandest scale, with wonders that boggle the imagination. Okay, this is a Galaxy log for May 2024, and I have it subtitled Two Nights, Two Big Guns. First night was May 30th, and it was a bright supernova, well, there is a bright supernova, and a galaxy in Leo, NGC 3524. It's supernova 2024 INV. Now, by the time it got dark at this time of the year, Leo is starting to really get lower in the western sky. So this would have to be the very first object that I would go to once the telescope was set up and it got dark. So it was a little bit past meridian, well, fairly well past meridian, but still got a really good view of it. Here's where the Galaxy 3524 is located, and from Stellarium Web. There's a closer-up view of the location of the galaxy. And here's my near view image. It's funny, the galaxy was almost being overwhelmed by the supernova, especially the southern portion of the galaxy below the nucleus of the galaxy. But the first thing that was very striking to me were also these other two field stars, which was interesting. Kind of looked like Orion's belt. So as far as the galaxy, here's its magnitude, the surface brightness, probably high surface brightness. It's small, its type. Here's its distance. And the supernova I estimated that night is about 12.2. So it was actually brighter than the galaxy itself. The telescope is a 20-inch f3.3 Dob. Eyepiece is a 4.8 millimeter. It gave me 402 magnification. Sky conditions that night were very good. Seeing for the most part was pretty good. There was times where it went off a bit. Transparency was pretty good. Not excellent, but it was pretty good. Also have an image here from a friend of mine, a longtime friend of mine, an observing partner, Dave Mitzke, through his C-Star S50, 23 minutes of shots, and you can see the supernova stood out very well. It's right here. Of course, there's the galaxy. So my near view image, it was a really cool view. It was like I said, these two field stars and the supernova lined up like I said, it reminded me of Orion's belt. So I thought that was very neat. Galaxy itself showed a tight little core area, fairly bright. It extended a little bit to a point to the northeast, and to the south, the supernova was kind of overwhelming that part of the galaxy. You could barely see that. You could say, okay, yeah, you can see a little bit of that part of the galaxy, but supernova was so bright, it just basically was just overwhelming the galaxy itself. But it's really neat to see supernova. I usually do check prior to going out if there's any updates on supernova like that. So I was glad I certainly saw this one coming, and so I was ready that night to go right to it. Next, we go to a favorite pairing of mine, NGC 4490 and NGC 4485 in Kinesis Odyssey. Here's Stellarium Web, where the galaxies are located. They're easy to find. You can see it. They're really close to Beta, Kinesis Odyssey. And here's my near view image. Um, it's also an ARP. It's ARP 269. Let's see here. So this is a very bright galaxy. It's 4490. You can see it's 9.8. It's set for brightness. Its size, good size. Its type, its distance. And then its partner, 4485, is pretty fairly bright. It's not too bad. The lower surface brightness, smaller. Its type. And then the scope for this near view image was the 20-inch f33 Dob, and eyepieces again the 4.8, 402 magnification. When I was viewing this, the sky conditions kind of got a little bit better, so I was getting some really great views of this. Here's a image from a friend, Frank Colosimo, from his observatory. A beautiful image of the pairing of galaxies. So what I'm going to do is I have the original recording that night of me observing this pair, and we'll play that. But yeah, this is definitely one of the favorites in the sky. It can be seen in smaller telescopes, especially 4490. 4485 is a little more difficult. It's a little easier to see, say, in a 4-inch refractor on up than in a smaller telescope. But yeah, if you have a mid-sized telescope and larger, it's really a great pair to observe.
Looking at 4490 and 4485, the 4.8 AFM. Incredible structure in 4490. Faint little nucleus, a lot of modeling around the core area, and extends really, really well where the arms are. Definitely patchy. H2 regions, star clusters, star clouds. You can see a little bit of that hook of that arm, that western arm. Then 4485, the irregular, very patchy, very grainy looking. Some real bright little patches in it, with star clouds, H2 regions. Just a really incredible view. It looks like on the eastern side there's another patch of 4490 on the arm. And then a very faint star on the far east side. What an incredible view. Wow.
The last galaxy for this night is NGC 5023 at Kinesvin Odyssey. Here's where the galaxy is located. It's a closer up view of where the galaxy is located in the sky. Now I have a Nexus digital setting circle, so it was easy, fine, of course. But if you're doing some star hopping, it's a little more difficult. Galaxy has a bit of a low surface brightness, so if you're using too low of power, you may miss it, even though it is large. It is large, particularly if you're in a little bit brighter skies. But yeah, once you find it, it's definitely a really neat edge on Galaxy. And here's my near view image. Galaxy's magnitude is 12.3, so it's not too bad, but its surface brightness is closing in on 14th magnitude, so it is definitely has a low surface brightness. It is big. There's its size, its type, and its distance. For this view through the 20-inch f33 Dob, I used a 10mm eyepiece, gave me 192 magnification. And again, the sky conditions are pretty good. There's an image of the galaxy here, a little bit wider field. In the near view image, the galaxy showed a brighter middle section, then extended very well from the northeast to the southwest. Especially with the vertivision, it really grew. It definitely had a modeling to it, especially in the middle, And then in the lower part of the galaxy, just south west of the core area of the galaxy, a little bit more patchiness that I was seeing, especially with averted vision. And I have a closer up view from a sky survey image and there's looks like a big star cloud or H2 region right here, star cloud probably, and that's what I was seeing, because I could tell at moments of good seeing, and I was picking up a little bit brighter area in that area of the galaxy, and that's what it was. So that was interesting that I was able to see that. But the galaxy, it's in smaller scopes, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to pick up detail with it because of its low surface brightness, unless you're under really good dark skies. But kind of reminded me actually of in the same constellation of another large edge-on galaxy, but it's brighter in this, is NGC 4244. But that's what it kind of reminded me of. It. It's like a fainter, smaller version of that really great edge-on galaxy. Okay, the second night was the following night, May 31st, and it was a really good night. I was a bit tired from the previous night, so I didn't take out the 20-inch again. I went to a closer dark sight that I use a lot, and with my 12-inch f4 Dob. And the first galaxy I went to is a really nice galaxy. It's NGC 4448 in Coma Berenices, where the galaxy is located. Close-up view of it's an easy find. It's right near Gamma and Coma Berenices, and yeah, I mean, in fact, with a wide-field eyepiece, the galaxy and this beautiful star is in the same field of view. And here's my near-view image. The galaxy's really bright. It's 11.1 magnitude. It's a fairly good high surface brightness, decent size, its type, and its distance. For the near-view image, the 12-inch f4 Dob, the 7mm eyepiece gave me 171 magnification. The sky conditions were excellent. It's funny, my observing mates the previous night, when I had the 20-inch out, we were kind of debating whether we wanted to go out Thursday night or Friday night, and we thought it would be best, because it was saying that it was going to be clear on both nights, but it's always good to go that first night because you never know what happens that second night, and especially here in the Northeast, weather is very finicky. But it turned out to be that this night was better than the previous night. The transparency was really, really good, and seeing was just stable. It was really all night that I was there. Just everything just focused into nice, crisp images, and stars always never showed at all having any kind of fuzziness to them. And I was always just rock steady seeing all night. So the views were really, really good. And here's first of all, here's a nice image from the previous night from Dave Mitski from his C-Star S50, 30-minute exposure time, 30 minutes of exposures, and of the galaxy itself. And it's a really nice galaxy. In the near view image, it shows this very broad or large central region, a little faint stellar nucleus, and then going east to west, extending very well. It really was a really nice view with the 7mm eyepiece. It almost gave me a depth with it, with the field stars around it. Yeah, I really enjoyed this view. It's a really great galaxy. It can take a lot of magnification. As far as structural detail, it's not really you're going to see a lot of structure in it. even on a larger scope. But yeah, it's just a really nice galaxy, and you can see it in smaller telescopes. I've seen it in my 4-inch refractor easily, no problem with that. Um, but I thought, it's really nice to see a nice wide field image of this galaxy, and it really makes for a really pretty view. Okay, the last view of the night was a pair of galaxies, was NGC 5480 and NGC 5481. And it was interesting because even though the galaxies are together, and you'll see it in the images, the near view image, um, one's in Ursa Major and the other one's in Boötes. It's right on the border of these great constellations. So it's interesting how they're split. That one is in one constellation and the other one right next to it is in another constellation. Here's where the galaxies are located. Here's a closer up view from Stellarium Web location. It's funny when you look at this and you're thinking, oh, they got to be in the same constellation. But no, there's a dividing line going right down between them, between Boötes and Ursa Major. So here's my near view image. First, for 5480, here's its magnitude, 12.1. It's fairly high surface brightness. It's small, it's type, it's distance. 5481, it's not quite as bright, and very close to equal size. It's type and its distance, so they are a pairing out in the distant universe. For the near view image with the 12-inch f4, so with a 6mm eyepiece at 200 magnification. And as I said in the previous with the previous galaxy, 4448, sky conditions were excellent. Here's a image of the pair of galaxies. One being 5480, being the spiral, pretty much a face-on spiral, and its partner there is an elliptical galaxy. So here's the near view image. This was really a pretty pair. I really liked it. It had a nice star field around it. 5480 first showed a fairly it was conspicuous stellar nucleus. Had an oval shaped disk, and with some variations through it. Kind of tell that it was a face-on spiral by seeing these kind of variations. Its partner there, 5481, an elliptical galaxy. And actually, even though it shows being the dimmer galaxy, it had a nice bright stellar nucleus that stood out really well. And that core region was very bright, more roundish than 5480. But the pair, like I said, it was really nice. You would think when you look at this at 200 magnification, how close they are, that they are separated by two constellations, which I think is the first for me to see that. But yeah, I'm anxious actually for the next dark window. They should be up high enough during the late June, early July dark window, having a 20-inch out and revisiting this pair. I thought it was a really nice view, and it was a good way to end this night. This is a summary of this galaxy log. First, talk about the dark sites. On that first night, I was at this dark site, which is it's about a little over an hour away from me to the northwest. It's got really good elevation for this part of Pennsylvania. As far as how dark it is, it's rated a Bortle 4, but it's a dark Bortle 4, so I have it down as a 3.5. This night, I had it rated very good. Transparency was pretty darn good. The seeing was pretty good for the most part. There was times where it went off the rails a bit, but for the most part, it was a very good night. On the second night, I was at my closest dark site, which is about a 35-minute drive north. It also has, for this area, also has good elevation. It's rated as a Border 4 site. But as I said, when I was doing the Galaxies on the second night, this was rated, as far as sky conditions for this site, it was rated excellent. Tremendous transparency, great seeing. The seeing was just rock steady. And so that really helped bring out some really nice views of the Galaxies. As far as the telescopes, on the first night was the Weight Renegade 20-inch f3 Dob with a Paracore 2 and Nexus DSCs. This is my newest scope, and I fell in love with this telescope. This is just a joy to use. Tremendous optics in it. No matter how much power I'm pushing on it, the images are just crystal clear, crisp star images. Galaxies just pop out, with detail. I love the Nexus. I never had a Nexus DSCs before, or any digital setting circles like this for Dobsonian, and they work really, really well. It's really a joy to use. Also, I don't have to climb a ladder no more, which is nice. But I lost a couple inches of aperture going from the 22 f4.5 to this, but going up a ladder all night, as you get older and stuff, it gets a little tiring. So this is a much, and as far as setting it up, the way I set this thing up, it's actually, I've timed myself that night too. It was 18 minutes of getting it set up in getting it collimated. So that's really nice. If I have a large telescope like this, and set up and breakdown when you're tired at the end of the night is easy. On the second night was the Orion Optics UK 12-inch f4 Dob, and I've used this a lot for Galaxy Log over the past couple of years. And I've always said this thing really has tremendous optics in it. It's really another telescope that's a joy to use. Definitely going to in the near future getting the digital setting circles for this scope too. But as I have subtitled in the for this Galaxy Lab, the 2 nights, 2 big guns, and the reason is because, well, the 20-inch obviously is a big gun, but the 12-inch scope is where Dobsonian is what I consider the baby of the big Dobs, and where I think deep sky astronomy through the eyepiece really starts taking off from this size on up. And so that's why I still call it a big gun. It's a big gun. As far as eyepieces, for NGC 3524 and the Supernova, and NGC 4485 and 4490, was the APM 4.8 XWA. These are really nice eyepieces if you want that 100-degree field of view. For NGC 5023 is the Pentax 10mm XW, another well-respected line of eyepieces. Just really sharp, gives really crisp, sharp views. Really good light transmission, good contrast. It's a high-quality eyepiece. For NGC 4448 is the APM 7mm XWA. Like I said, this is a terrific eye. I really like this eyepiece. It's a really good. I use it a lot for a lot of objects, and I'm impressed by this line of eyepieces. And for NGC 5480 and NGC 5481 was Teleview 6mm Delos, and most of us know that this is an exceptional line of eyepieces. Well, that's it for this month's Galaxy Log. Clear dark skies and happy galaxy observing.